Hi, I am Isaiah Deiters, founder of IWD Designs. In this video, I will show you the two-part process of how I make a finished piece of jewelry. Most of my jewelry has a stone as a centerpiece. These stones cannot just come out of nowhere, they have to come from somewhere. All stones come from a rough rock that you could just pull out of the ground in a mine or somewhere else. Sometimes these stones are just picked up off the ground anywhere, such as this one. This is a piece of rough jasper. It's got cool bands of color in it. The color is what most jewelers, including me, like for their pieces. Now, I can't use this as a finished piece. I can't wear it like a ring. It's way too big. The way I tell what a stone would look like polished and finished, I just spit some water on it. Or I can just drip some water on it or something so it looks nice and glossy. Then you can tell what it would look like with a finish on it. The first thing that I would do with a stone like this is cut it up into thin slices called slabs. These slabs I can then further use. This was a piece of Mohawk jasper. This is the piece that I'm going to use today. The reason I like it is it has 3 consecutive solid bands of color I'm going to incorporate into my stone design. The next step in refining a stone is choosing and using a template. Now there are many different types of templates, and a basic template is just shapes cut into a piece of plastic that serves as a guideline for making your shapes. As I have to mark the stone to make this. The trim saw can only cut in a straight line. Band saws can cut in circles and shapes and stuff, but my trim saw can only cut in a straight line. You can see this is how I will cut it, and this is the final shape I will make. Now that I have drawn the lines using the template, I now can cut it out using a trim saw. This trim saw is perfectly safe for me to use, as all it is a light abrasive on here that can only cut hard objects and not a finger. You have to use water incorporated with it to keep the dust from getting in the air and possibly into somebody's lungs. I have the finished shape. It does not look like much of an oval right now, but I'll grind it down later to grind down the corners and the edges to make it actually look like an oval. The next step in the process is doping the stone. What I do is I have to heat up the stone and the wax for doping, the doping wax. Why? I have a stick on here so I can have somewhere to hold it while I'm grinding it on my grinder. This jasper that I have cut needs to be shaped before I can use it into a cabochon. Cabochon has a flat back and a domed, polished top. So then I can put a bezel on it to hold it in place when I set it into my piece. Welcome to my second workshop. This is where, after I finish all the stonework, I do all the silversmithing. The first part of the silversmithing work I have to do is making the bezel cup. The bezel cup is the part of the
silver, which holds the stone in place and keeps it from falling out of the design altogether. What I'm doing is I'm using my design here, I cut it out to show how large of a piece of sheet I need. Now I always want to have some extra on the sides, just in case. Now I need to cut it out with my shears. Now I'm going to stamp my sheet and then flatten it so the bezel will fit on better. Now, flatten it. See that? Now, of course, now I have to solder the bezel onto the back, making the bezel cup. Now, after I've soldered it, this is what it looks like. It doesn't look like a finished piece, does it? Now, after that, I have to put all the stuff around it. Now that I have soldered the half-round pieces of wire onto it, around the balls, here, I'll now proceed to put chisel marks into it, completing the design. After that, I will then cut around it here, then cut around the design, and file around it flush. I have to wear a mask because grinding kicks up a lot of dust, and this is a magnifier, so I can see it better. It took a while, but I finally got it ground down to my liking. The next step is to make the bail. The bail is the part of the pendant which the chain will go through. Now, this is just the style of bail that I chose for this particular piece, one out of the infinite different types of bails in the world. Now that I have soldered the bail on, I will now set the stone. How I do that is, if my hand is the stone, I push the bezel around it, then over it to hold it in. The next step is buffing the piece. Buffing is a pre-polish done prior to polishing. Going to do now is I'm going to use this compound, which is called Black Max, to oxidize my silver before I polish it. This oxidation will just turn it black, and it doesn't really do anything else. But what it does is it gives it an antique look, because after I polish it, the parts that get polished, there's no Black Max on it anymore. It polishes it off. Now for the final step, the final polishing of it. hope you enjoyed watching my video and seeing the process of lapidary, which is the stonework, and silversmithing, which is the jewelry work. Help transform a rough stone and some pieces of metal to a beautiful piece of jewelry.